Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to a brand new video here today. We are talking about the Formula 1 calendar today, the 2022 one, upcoming one to be specific, and as you can see, it is a very, weird sort of calendar. I kind of looked at it initially when it came out a few weeks ago, this graphic by Sky F1, and my face was just sort of like, especially for the first 5 rounds, it is very, very odd. We go from Bahrain to Saudi Arabia, so we're going to get Jeddah for 2 times the last 4 races we're going to watch as F1 fans. Then we go to Australia, then go back to Europe, and then fly the other way to Miami before coming back to Europe. Very, very odd. It's going to be very strenuous for all the personnel, mechanics, everyone in the teams to, do all that flying in the first 5 rounds as well. And then we've got 23 rounds, which, has been a topic of debate, for the last couple of years of Liberty Media talking about wanting to grow the F1 calendar and, an argument of, we're, maybe taking away from how special Grand Prix are. Is 23 just too much? In my opinion, I would be fine with less than 23. For me, I think the perfect number is actually around 18 or 19, in my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think about a length of calendar, what you'd want to see. I know, I guess the consensus for, hyper F1 fans would be, more races, more fun, but, for me personally, and I've been watching F1 for a long, long time now, I actually don't want 23 races. It's too much, opinion. And also, I think it takes away from the Grand Prix. And then I also think about just the teams, the mechanics, just a lot. But anyway, we're not talking about really the length. We're talking about the layouts of this calendar, because it's just a bit weird. So today, I've got this calendar in Photoshop. You might be able to tell where I've cut it out. And basically, we're going to rejig it a little bit, just to make it seem a bit less disjointed, especially at the start. And then also, I'm just going to remove some races that maybe I feel we could do away with. But I want to ask you guys in the comments below, let me know what your ideal F1 calendar would be out of these races. There may be other tracks that are not here that, you could include potentially, but I'm talking about this one right here. What's your ideal calendar? Straight away, Bahrain, I realize why Australia cannot be the first race, especially now with the new wave we've got, everyone's very cautious. Australia, we don't even know if it's going to be round 3 anymore. I don't know, but it makes sense that Bahrain is the first round, and to be honest, I like Bahrain as a first round of the F1 season, to be honest. Saudi Arabia, though, I don't think makes any sense being round 2. I think there's some sense of having it near Bahrain. I get why that's maybe the case, and also it's a new circuit. They've spent all this money to make it. The circuit wasn't fully ready maybe for the opening race that we had, so maybe that's why they wanted to straight away come back to it and showcase it fully finished again or whatever. But I just don't, it just seems so odd having Jeddah as round 2. Start the season, you need a strong selection of tracks to kick off the year, and you have Saudi Arabia. It's a bit odd. To be fair, at the same time, it is also odd having it so late on, because it means Saudi Arabia, basically in my opinion, should not be at the tail end or the start. It's too weird of a Grand Prix, the track layout and the way the racing was, to be such an important race, to kick off the season, but then also help decide the season at the end. So I'm going to float that there for a second. Australia round 3, obviously we know kind of, why it's there. It's not at the start, but it's, they're hopeful of getting it off the ground and early in the season. But I don't know, if we're gonna not have it as the first race of the season, which it kind of traditionally has been for a while, why don't we just knock it back to the end of the year like we kind of were going to in 2021 before it was completely cancelled again for a second year in a row? We're gonna move Imola back up to here, round 2. I think Imola is an iconic circuit. It works really well as a round 2, really, a nice place to go to. Then it's tricky because Miami is there round 5. In my opinion, I think maybe it's kind of good to have Miami and USA, COTA together, even though maybe they're doing that because they don't want, 2 back-to-back US race in the US. But obviously, the USA is so big, state to state, it's so different. And I don't know, in my mind, it actually creates a buzz if F1 as a circus moves within the United States from one state to another. You know, you could have people who bought tickets to COTA to then go to Miami. So maybe have those two together. So I'm going to place that there for now. We're going to find a spot for them. Round 3 now. This is tricky because obviously I'm not adding races to this calendar because we're going off just rejigging this one. Maybe even removing races that Russia, give or take, I could take it or leave it. Although to be fair, Russia was quite a banger last season. So I'm not gonna remove any races. I'm just gonna rejig it. Spain, round 3. Spain's quite early for a Spanish Grand Prix, but I think it just fits so much better. Like, I know they don't want to do these races this early, maybe. I think you just start the season a little bit later, actually, and give the teams a bit more of a winter break, and then do it, because I know they wouldn't want to do all these Grand Prix this early in the year, because, you know, obviously the date here says May, but if we moved it to if Monaco's round 4, it probably wouldn't be late in May if we were just simply going off, taking the slot that, what was round 4? Round 4 was Miami. Start of May still would work, I think, for Monaco. Now, these are all, like, fine. These, to me, are all fine. Britain, Austria, and then France as well. Those work well. It's a usual pairing we're used to now. What could work maybe here, if you wanted to split the Grand Prix, like if the F1 were insistent on splitting Miami and USA, what if we went from Canada to Miami, round 7? That could work. I think that works actually better than that. And in Canada's always been this weird one where we just go to it in the middle of the European portion of the season. Keeping that tradition, why don't you just slot Miami in there, though? Because we can go from Canada to Miami. So that's not too disjointed, is it? Really. So I'm just going to move these up then, just so we're kind of, you get the gist of what round it is, though. France is round 10. Then we're going to go with... I'm going to go with Saudi Arabia. I'm going to then move to round 11 there. I'm going to slot that in after France. And then we're going to go to Hungary. This looks a little bit disgusting on the graphic now because these are bright red and the bottom of this is like a brownish maroon, but I'll just go with it. So then we've got Hungary, Belgium, Netherlands. To be fair, Zandvoort, we could move back to the start of the season because that was actually quite good. I actually like the idea of having Zandvoort earlier. So actually, you know what? I'm going to take back what I just did. I'm going to move Jeddah down to... I'm going to move Jeddah down to round 12. We're going to go France. I'm going to slot Netherlands here, actually, in between Austria and France. I think that works actually quite well. So let me just move all these up. So we've got Monaco round 4, sorry. Azerbaijan, Canada, Miami, Britain, Austria, Netherlands, France, Jeddah, Hungary back in its 13th round slot, Belgium, Italy, and then I'm going to go, Russia, Singapore, I think Japan works, and then we go to, and then we can go, then we can actually easily, that works really well. We can go to Australia from Japan, because we're already on that side of the world. Makes sense. Then we're going to go to the other side of the world and go to USA, Mexico, Brazil, Abu Dhabi. I think that's a good run, and in my opinion, actually, I prefer Brazil to be the finale, so I would go Percy, Brazil, I would go Abu Dhabi, Brazil. That would be my order, really. But that is... I think what I think looks like a better calendar, not removing circuits here, even though I technically said I may have done some. But let's just, for the sake of just keeping it whole of the tracks we're going to have, allegedly, planned. Obviously, everything's asterisks because, COVID could still take out some of these races. You never know with, like, the new wave and stuff. But Bahrain... Then go to Imola, nice iconic start to the season. Then go to familiarity, start the European portion of the season. I'm saying maybe just delay, maybe have 2-week gaps between Bahrain to Imola to Spain to make sure the dates still are sort of okay. And we have Spain not too early in the year to make sure the winter kind of weather is kind of gone away a little bit from Spain. Because, we've seen from preseason testing, Barcelona, when it's properly cold, isn't actually that great for the team sometimes in terms of the way the race could go and whatnot. So Barcelona, Monaco, Azerbaijan, Canada, then Miami. I think that works well. Go from Canada down to Miami, and then going back to the European portion. Britain, Austria, Netherlands, get Zandvoort back into the middle of the calendar like it was originally planned, because Zandvoort in the F1 2020 game, you may remember, originally was planned to be slap bang right in the middle of the European portion of the season. I think they've just kept it late on like they have here because we did it last year like that, but I actually prefer the idea of having Netherlands slotted in with, you know, the other European races right in the heart of it. Then go to France, then we kind of quickly cut to Jeddah. That's the awkward one in the middle, but we have Canada. We've always had Canada as an awkward one in the middle to fly away to and then come back. So why can't we do that for Jeddah? And like I said, I think Jeddah, just with the layout it is, I don't think it deserves to be at the start or the end of the season. I think it just needs to be in the middle as one of those, you know, oh, it's, you know, one of those races you might forget about in the middle of the year sort of thing. Hungary, Belgium, Italy, you know, iconic little run. Russia's there. Obviously, Russia was actually quite a good race last year, so whatever. Singapore, Japan, I think it works well to then go down to Australia from Suzuka, go to Australia, then fly. Well, it wouldn't even be across like that. It would be actually the other way, you know, on the world map, and fly to Kota, then Mexico, then Abu Dhabi, then to Brazil. And I think Brazil's iconic ending to this season. You know, I miss having that as a finale. You know, think of all the crazy. I know obviously Abu Dhabi was a mental finale for us in this season, but Brazil, I think most F1 fans can agree. Brazil just has that aura that I feel Abu Dhabi. I don't know. Abu Dhabi was very, very intense this season just because of the championship fight. But in a general aura sense, I think Sao Paulo has that aura of like a, oh, you know, you got the rain as well, Jeopardy there. It's just a thoroughbred circuit. Just the aura of it deserves a finale. But obviously they've got to deal with Yas Marina and Abu Dhabi for a while now. But this is my ideal calendar based off not removing any race. I think this one makes a lot more sense for the mechanics, just for us to follow along as like a world championship. You know, it makes sense to flow around the world rather than just going like this everywhere. I don't know. Like I said, let me know in the comments below, guys, your ideal F1 2022 calendar in terms of just rejigging this original one that we had. This is actually the original edit then, without the kind of cutting out that I did. So rejig this calendar in the comments below and let me know. But what do you make of my version? If you do agree with it, maybe then hit the like button. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.